This is absolutely hilarious. So, in case you don't know, Snow White completely bombed as a movie, and the son of Snow White producer Mark Platt roasted actress Rachel Zegler, who's come under fire recently for attacking Trump supporters, and she also called for free Palestine right after October 7th. Um, so Mark Platt went over to her, this is a while ago, and basically confronted her over her comments on Twitter, whether it be both, free Palestine, as well as her comments regarding Trump, because she basically said that all Trump supporters are evil. And this is some of like what she was saying. Donald Trump, and always remember free Palestine. Get off Elon's app, by the way. The F are you doing? Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace. So she was writing a lot of F bombs on Donald Trump and his supporters. And as any normal producer, he's going to confront somebody that is completely acting very immaturely, as well as very sort of isolating the audience from a movie that he's producing, because it's unacceptable. You're involved in a massive project. Just going off about very extreme views obviously will make a lot of people want to fire you, let alone give you a lecture on what to write on Twitter. Now, so he confronted her. So she writes to Jonah Platt, your dad flew to NYC to reprimand a young actress. Any words on this? Because that's creepy as hell and uncalled for. People have the right to free speech. No? Shame on your father. And then Jonah Platt came back with one of the best responses I've ever heard. At whatever her tagline is, you really want to do this? Yeah. My dad, the producer of the enormous piece of Disney IP with hundreds of millions of dollars. Oh, sorry, this isn't responding exactly to her, but one of her fans. With hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie, for which she signed a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid and do publicly for. This is called adult responsibility and accountability. Her actions clearly hurt the firm's box office. Free speech does not mean you're allowed to say whatever you want in your private employment without repercussions. Tens of thousands of people worked on that film, and she hijacked the conversation for her own immature desires at the risk of all the colleagues and crew and blue collar workers who depend on that movie to be successful. Narcissism is not something to be coddled or encouraged. So he went off on her and did a great job, I might add, of just putting her in her place. I think a lot of these Hollywood actresses and actors think that they're above anything. They are the star. They are irreplaceable. They can't be, lectured at all. And they should just be free to do whatever the heck they want. And then reality hits them in the ass. Here is another sort of thing about what exactly she said right after Trump was elected. I shouldn't be this shocked, but I am. I am heartbroken for my friends who awoke fear this morning. Who awoke fear this morning? Who awoke fear this morning? I don't even know how that makes sense. And I'm here with you to cry, to yell, to hug, to wax poetic on how the left continues to fail us in forging a new path forward. This loss should not have been, and it certainly should not have been by so many votes. I echo Ethel Kane's statement more than anything. May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace. So, again, you're producing a massive movie with this, Rachel Zegler, and you have to understand, when you're trying to produce a movie this big, you want to reach all audiences. You don't want to isolate half the country that might be watching this movie because one of your actors is completely and utterly anti-Trump. So the idea that she should be allowed to just say whatever she wants on her public platforms, no. If you're part of a movie this big, then you are censored. You are putting yourself in a situation where you're subject to what they want you to do. You're an employee of the company of this massive Disney movie where they're trying to make hundreds of millions of dollars, and you want to take that salary and then still be able to, use your platform for whatever you want to do. Same thing in the NBA. If you say something in the NBA doesn't approve of it, you're going to get fined, or you're going to get lectured, or you're going to get re-educated or whatever, or fired directly. And this just happens all the time, and it's completely normal. Here's just a clip to showcase how crazy this woman is.
Who hates when I win, and to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
That's her watching her own movie at the end. They're pretty cringe, I might add. Tim Dillon, who I'm not really so much of a fan of, but he's very funny, gave a little bit of a take on Snow White, and I'll leave you with this clip of his basically describing the whole situation pretty well, actually. Hold on, give me a second. Here we go. He touched on the fact that Gal Gadot is also part of this movie, and it sort of is, a little bit of a, you have Snow White, who's going to be played by Rachel Zegler, who's pro-Palestine and pro-Hamas, and then you have Gal Gadot, who is obviously pro-Israel and was formerly an IDF soldier, and it makes it a little awkward.
But here's what I mean. Look at this Cinderella, or Snow White, rather. This thing's, Disney's in big trouble here. And again, because you have Rachel Zegler, who's in Hamas, and Gal Gadot, who's in the IDF. They're stars of the movie, and they're on both sides of the Middle East. And both sides of the Middle East are conflict. And there's no fucking dwarfs, because Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones opened his mouth and said, this is fucked up, having dwarves in the movie called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So now we got a lot of pro-Palestine, a lot of pro-Israel, and no fucking dwarfs in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So now Disney doesn't know what the hell's going on, because Rachel Zegler is coming out and screaming from the river to the sea, or whatever she does. And, Gal Gadot's doing her whole thing, lighting infants on fire. And there's no dwarfs. So my whole thing is, does it seem like a fun film? Does it seem like a fun film? I want to see dwarfs. I don't want the Middle East conflict. I want dwarfs.
Oh, that was golden from Tim Dillon there. And obviously I don't agree with his assessment of Gal Gadot, but his point is that they really screwed up with this movie. For more, subscribe to the channel. If you want to help us make more of these videos, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored. And may Rachel Zegler never know peace.